In this video I'll show you how I used Blender to make this house for my small model railroad layout. First I tried to make a simple block out of the house. I love doing this because it allows me to try new things and test how it's gonna look in only a few minutes. For this building I also wanted to add an inner wall to help support the roof. I also added a chimney, and after cutting out a few windows and 2 doors, I was happy with how the block out looked, so I moved on to giving the walls thickness. I then used a boolean modifier on the walls and the roof as a cutter object. Then I fixed the chimney again. Before investing more time in the house, I made sure it would fit on the printer's print bed. Next I give the roof some thickness and split it in half. Then I used the append function to grab the bricks I used in a previous house. Then I simply make it fit the wall and duplicate it to another wall and make it fit, and repeat the process until all the walls have bricks. This is quite easy because of how I have set up the array modifiers on the bricks. I spent quite a while making the bricks on the corners line up so they look nice. Next I separate the bricks on the chimney because I don't want them to be cut with the boolean modifier. I then move the outside faces from the wall a bit to the inside so the bricks are protruding out and make it look like mortar. To cut out the windows and doors from the bricks, I select and duplicate these faces and scale them and fill the open faces to create cutter objects like this. Then I simply add a boolean to the bricks and select these as the cutter. After using the boolean, I delete the very small bricks. It won't even be visible in the final print, so I just delete them. I then also move the outside faces a bit to make the bricks protrude outward for the rest of the house, but that also made the walls not line up with the roof anymore, so I had to do another boolean operation. At this point I felt like the roof was still too high, so I deleted 2 rows of bricks and simply moved everything above that down. Next, I add the lintels above each window and door. Then I made the floor. I make openings in the floor to be more efficient with resin usage. It also makes it easier to remove from the print bed after printing. Once done, I found some inspiration for door designs. I like this one, so I made it. I also copied it over to the other doors so they are the same. To make the window frames, I kept it very simple because I don't have unlimited time to make more complex designs, and this looks decent for how easy it is to make. I made sure to keep it all flat on the inside to make it easier to glue in clear plastic material as window glazing. Once all the windows are done, I attach them to the walls. I also copied some of the bricks from the chimney to the inside, so it looks a bit more realistic. I then looked at it in my slicer to see if there's any errors. Back in Blender, I copied some bricks and added them to the pillar like this. I also then used a boolean to cut out the roof shape. I also duplicated the bottom 2 rows of bricks and added them to the side of the floor like this. For this building, I wanted to make the roof with terracotta roof tiles. I make them using a plane and beveling some edges like this, and then I spend quite a while making them tile seamlessly. The plan was to print the walls and roof separately to make it easier to paint, but that also meant that I had to cut an opening in the roof for the chimney. I did this with another boolean modifier. Next, I made a simple corner piece tile like this, and I used a mirror modifier to mirror it on all 4 corners. And then I split it in half because I want to print the roof in 2 halves on the print bed, standing upright. Before booleaning everything together, I had to do some cleanup to get a cleaner mesh, otherwise the mesh was full of errors. Anyway, after some trial and error and fixing and undoing and fixing errors and repeating that and getting frustrated, and yeah, I finally managed to get it without any errors. With the roofs boolean together and error free, I moved on to booleaning all the bricks and wall together. After booleaning the wall and bricks together, it was full of errors, but I selected everything and pressed Ctrl T to triangulate everything. That fixed a bunch of n-gons, which solved many errors. Only a few easy to fix errors remained. This is how the mesh looks at this stage, and I think it's time for test printing. So let's do that. After slicing and printing the model, I was happy to see it printed without any errors or weird warping. To remove the model, it can be tricky with some resin, like this standard Creality resin. What I like to do is lift up the corner very carefully until it starts to peel away, until it comes off like that. I like to rinse off most of the resin in a little bit of IPA like this, before thoroughly washing it in the washing machine like this. After a few minutes in the IPA, I rinse it with some tap water and then place it in the curing machine. I make sure to flip it every few minutes while it's curing to avoid warping. And that's it, and this is how it looks after painting. By the way, if you are interested in how I paint these types of models, make sure to check out my main channel.